you guys have kids, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like the McDonald's that has like the jungle gym type of shit?
Yeah.
And then there's that little cage with the balls in it, the ball pit or whatever like that, right?
Yeah.
And the kids stay in the ball pit and the parents, are separated from the kids and the kids are having a time in their life, right? So I'm like, that's how you fix the border. Right. Right? It's like it's right. So it's like everybody's making a big deal about like these kids in the cages in the border and they're separated from the parents. Right? So
I don't see the problem. I love it.
What's up and welcome to another episode of Inside Jokes. This is a show where comics bring their most divisive material, the jokes that get boos, not laughs, the ones that can split a crowd. We work on them, try to find the funny in there. And this episode is brought to you by AdamandEve.com. You need a dildo, vibrator, some condoms, some sex toys, some videos. Whatever you need for your sexual desires, you can find at AdamandEve.com. And guess what? When you use the promo code JOKES, you get 50% off the first item and free shipping anywhere in the US and Canada. You cannot beat that at all. So go to AdamandEve.com and use that promo code JOKES. Enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Inside Jokes. I'm here with, let's go around the table. We got Akaash Singh, my guy, Roy Wood Jr., Paul Virzi, absolutely hilarious comedians. We all got a few jokes that we're going to work on. Let's just get it started. So here's mine. I've been trying to work this out, and it hasn't been going very well. It's okay. So you guys have kids, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like the McDonald's that has like the jungle gym type of shit.
Yeah.
And then there's that little cage with the balls in it, the ball pit or whatever like that, right?
Yeah.
And the kids stay in the ball pit, and the parents, are separated from the kids, and the kids are having a time in their life, right? So I'm like, that's how you fix the border. Right. Right? It's like it's right. So it's like everybody's making a big deal about like these kids in the cages in the border and they're separated from the parents. Right? So
I don't see the problem. I love it. Just get some balls and get some.
They just don't have the balls. If they put the balls in the cages, it's a fun trip to America for these because they don't have ball pits in Mexico.
But
apparently,
let me just add this. Okay?
Yeah.
Discovery Zone? It's like a Discovery Zone.
The fact that is a problem for you just kind of says the state of where people in the audience's minds are at, because I think that's a fucking
it's funny, right?
And it's not serious. You're not talking about putting people in cages. He's just making a joke about.
I think that could solve it. I do believe on some level.
It's a fun cage.
Okay, put it this way: you can't tell me that the kids wouldn't have more fun if there were balls there.
1,000%.
Still a fucked up situation, but yes,
it's a fucked up. But imagine there was pelotas. There was lots of little
what about
pelotas.
the ball drop game?
If you turn the border into Dave & Buster's?
Yes! So the kid's there all night, but guess what? He's dropping the claw to get his stuff down.
Oh, Lord. And what is the audience? Have you tried this bit yet?
Yeah, they get a little pushback.
Okay.
It's a little bit of pushback. It's not even a pushback. But I think it's like, okay, obviously I'm being silly about it, but the fun thing is, once you get everybody pushing against a certain topic, right? Like this seems to be the kids in cages. How could you separate parents from kids, right? So immediately I'm going, okay, why is that okay? My first thought was the ball pit. And then I was thinking about like camp and like, I don't know if this is a white thing, but like
camp is
a white thing, right?
White
but like
sure.
We love separating kids from parents, right? Like,
that's a white thing, I think.
But even at our own house, there's like a kids' table, right? Like the kids aren't even allowed to be with the parents.
Yeah.
So I don't understand like all these like white liberals. They're like, how dare you separate the kids from the parents? Where are your kids? Boarding school? Yeah, but whatever. Yeah. How dare you? Like, who are you?
Well, you could even get the security at the border to do like balloon animals and shit.
Instead of a gun, he draws a big fucking balloon.
But do you acknowledge the ice kick door, snatch them out at 5 a.m. part of the reality before going into crazy
To be
town?
fair, ICE starts to work at 8. It's a regular, it's a 9 to 5. So
it's a government job.
It's a government job.
Probably closer to 10.
You really think they're showing up early for a government job?
I think that would fix the pushback.
Okay.
I'm trying to fix the joke.
Yeah. No, go on. So you're saying acknowledge the...
Always a kind soul.
If you acknowledge the darkness
Right.
before going into the ludicrous, then I think that's where...
They're at ease.
They're at ease. It's not foolproof, as I will explain in a second.
Right.
But I think that will help that bit. But that's fucking funny. It's funny.
I agree with what Roy said. If you kind of address in your mind that it is not the greatest of situations, but then you go, but I have an idea that can make it better. Then they see that you're being silly after acknowledging it.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that, and you're still going to get people going, no. You're never going to get 100% the joke being hard to do and then being okay.
Now,
that's never going to happen.
But with his comedy, what in my observation of your comedy, establishing a moral baseline before going into Crazy Town lowers the degree of difficulty of the joke. And you are on some high fly.
I like it. I like high difficulty.
No safety net. Here's what I'm thinking. It's up to you to decide whether or not I have a moral baseline or if I'm a decent human being.
Right. I want you to be a little concerned about me. Like when you guys were all looking at me in the beginning, you were like, "Is he think this is real or like what's happening?" For a bit like this, is there? Do you think there are other things that I could add to it? Like,
yeah, I think if you just keep adding to the funny, you might not even have to address the horror. To his point of like, you're not the guy who does that necessarily.
Right.
Or you can do it very quickly. But like, if you just keep thinking of like really fun carnival scenarios,
or maybe it's like, maybe I address the horror by going, guys, I'm not saying it's good to keep them in cages.
Right.
But you can't deny this is more fun.
Well, no, but
I just playing into this is better.
So then right there, then you go into. So I try to build a joke from what is the factual. The spine of the joke is, this is the most heinous.
Right.
What ICE is doing is the most heinous form of something that is already done societally time and time again.
Right.
Correct? So then you have all your examples that support that theory.
Yeah.
Then you go, balls are fun. And people go, And then at that point in the joke, you start running down all the fuck shit that's going on with kids literally dying and blankets and sleeping on floor. And you start detailing what's really happening in these detention centers.
Yeah.
Then go back to balls. They got to love that.
Yeah.
They can't, if nothing else, they can't disagree. Even if you don't laugh, you cannot disagree with them.
Because
as long as you have that, you have a solid foundation of a premise.
Right.
Yeah, because you're comparing the horrible shit sleeping on the floor, but now you go to the crawl drop.
Yes.
The claw drop. Then then something else, then a balloon animal. So you're just painting. It's like, so what's better, people?
Yes.
You can't be mad at me now.
maybe you could even give him like a funny white person, like an ugly white person to laugh at, like a carny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now you can shit on white people. Look at this midget white dude.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this is good. We give them games, but it has to be American shit. It can't be like pinata. It's got to like, what are they coming for? It's got to like prepare them to being a kid.
Yeah.
How do you be a kid in America? Maybe that's like the first step. Maybe we put them in cages because it's like, listen, this is what your parents are going to do to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have timeout. Well, you don't have timeout in Mexico. You know what I mean? Because you don't have a house.
Right.
So it's like, you can't time out in a tent. So it's like, this is your first experience in timeout. And what are other ways you discipline your kids?
You put them on that leash. Don't white people have the fucking leashes?
Wait, are they leashing them?
There's something you could do with that.
In real life, they do.
They put you in an imaginary cage. Like, if the cage isn't that different than the white guy with their kid on a leash.
Can't we acknowledge that, like, a lot of white kids go missing? And the leash is good for it might not be good for y'all, but for our numbers of white kids missing,
That's funny.
It's a good
Prevention method.
like if
prevention.
If we didn't, wouldn't you be like, why don't you put them on a fucking leash? Like you can only see so many like videos of a dog missing before you go tie it to something.
They got Bluetooth trackers now.
They got microchips like they do for dogs, for white babies.
For kids.
For just white kids?
I mean,
it's
probably.
not just white kids, though. It's not.
White people can't afford that shit. It's for white people. So then if you're it depends on which way you want to go with the bit, because now you started with kids, you started with immigration, but now you're getting into this detention center prepares you for life as an American child.
Yeah.
From that, you can springboard into all of the horrible things and the horrible ways we treat our kids. You can get into diet, you can get into behavior, and now the immigration is just a catalyst for a bigger conversation on real shit.
Like
Right.
whatever shitty
we-
food they're feeding you, like you need to be prepared for the devoid, like the Star Crunches and zebra cakes you're gonna get with no nutrition in America. It's just a prep center.
We're preparing you
like, what if it's an assimilation center? Because we always talk about like how we want people to assimilate to American culture, right? And it's just white people. They're like, listen, we want to teach you guys how to be white, okay? Rule number 1, you're not going to spend any time with your parents, okay? And then we separate you, and then we're adding these different. And then when I make it like white
don't
people
love
are
our kids.
Exactly. If I make it white people are shitty parents, the joke isn't look at these dire situations you're in. The joke that they're laughing about is how white people treat our kids.
And you've used a stick of dynamite to start a conversation on something bigger, which is more rewarding and more attention getting than just starting out with, guys, we don't treat our children well.
Right.
I will explain.
Right.
Premise, punchline.
Yeah,
Premise, punchline. Whereas if you start with immigration, you got motherfuckers undivided attention. And then they're going to go with you on that journey.
And maybe I even go to like, maybe even the most extreme examples, like sometimes there are kids that die in these cages, right?
Yeah.
And then I can be like, listen.
Don't you want to die with a stuffed animal? I mean, that's really what you're
That's what they do for cancer kids.
Son, I was gonna say white people, we kill our kids, but that is, yo.
If you stop the beat, you go, listen, some of these kids die in these cages.
Right.
Wouldn't you want them to die with a stuffed animal? That's doubling down, but that's.
But no. So here's the device, right? The device is just create, like, this is how you deal with their moral conflict, in my opinion, is you don't make them believe that this is okay. You make them believe that this is better.
Right.
We acknowledge that this is fucked up. How can we improve?
How could you not acknowledge it's fucked up? But let's make it better.
So you get a stuffed animal.
I'm with you. I've been with you from day. I didn't see what the problem why this joke's on the show. I don't know why this joke is on the show. That shit should have just killed, and these motherfuckers should have been happy with it. You know?
I just said balls. You're like, listen.
Yeah, like you had me at fucking balls.
Trump signed this kid up. He figured out the border.
I love it.
I got kids. They love the ball.
I mean, what's better, no balls or fucking sleeping? You know what I mean?
That's a good bit to a bigger commentary about how
children get treated, about how like we treat people, how they treat each other. Like the ball pit is brutal. Do you remember the ball pit?
It's disgusting.
I didn't go into
I loved it,
I
dog.
was grossed out by it.
No,
As
I
a
loved it.
child, how much anxiety do you have that you're 4 and you're like, I don't know. Did they wash? Did they Purell? What are we doing here, guys? That's funny. You have being an anxious 4-year-old. You won't even crawl because the ground's dirty. Like, will someone carry me?
I don't know about that slide, guys. Yeah. You can do a whole run about when you get old enough in a detention center, we send you to another room where we just give you an iPad and you just watch tablets all day and no one talks to you. Like, then there's the junk food area, and then there's the low
The
self-esteem.
boarding school thing can be a thing. Like,
Yes.
oh, your parents leave you for long periods of time. You have to interact with other kids. Boarding school. Like, that's welcome to America.
Yeah.
Isn't this what you wanted?
Like, how spoiled are they that they think they should spend time with their parents? Like, what? Like, who are these people that get to hang out with their
That's
parents?
brown kid privilege.
It really
like
is.
Your parents spend time with you.
Yeah.
Yo, maybe that's why white people are so okay with this. Maybe, like, we don't see the issue. Because it's like, I don't get, okay, so
He's
the
just a
separate-
latchkey
boom.
kid.
See, now
Yeah.
that's the shit.
Right.
Because there are people that are okay with what's happening in the detention
Yeah,
centers.
they're like, what's the big deal?
And here's how. And
Yeah.
then detail.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they put them in cage. Yeah, they separate the parents from the kids. So it's like, yeah, that's the ideal.
Then you can
Boom.
do a whole run on buying, like we just took down what's the shit in the house? The bar to keep the kid from going down the stairs and murdering
like
himself.
The gate, the little,
the baby gates.
The baby gates, yeah.
You have a baby. How do you not know what that thing is called?
Well, I don't know.
He got a wife.
Yeah.
That's his
Go buy a
wife's
baby
job.
gate. I mean,
Go buy another that shit.
With that money I earned.
take this money I made and go buy the baby gate. Is that not but a bigger cage in your like if you're trying to make the cage parallel with the baby
that's
gate?
great.
Wow.
Okay, boom.
You turned your home is a cage for your child. You have this to block them from this. There's the things on the
That's
to
the
keep you from
fucking
opening
good,
the
man.
chemical
When-
under the kitchen.
Yeah.
sink.
That's it. It's everything
Cabinet locks.
about being a kid is being in a cage. When you're in the car, you're locked into the seat like Hannibal Lecter. You can't move at all.
Baby stroller.
You have the baby stroller. They have no freedom whatsoever.
Yeah, they're
right?
always contained.
Why do we love the ball pit? It's the first time you just get to be by yourself, right?
Yeah.
The
And-
border is just a nanny, and isn't it nice for Mexicans to finally have their own nanny?
That's funny. That's extreme. But yes. Yes, that would work too.